the tiny firefly with a fear of the night. Flicker was a small firefly harboring a huge secret. He dreaded the darkness. This posed quite the dilemma, as Flicker was part of the Glow Patrol, a courageous band of fireflies tasked with the vital mission of illuminating paths for unsteady, young ones. In the shadowy embrace of night, tiny turtles emerge, making their brave journey to the glittering ocean, their safe passage assured. Flicker, once a fearless zipping light, used to dart around with the rest, his glow pulsing joyfully. But everything changed one evening during a game of hide and seek. Flicker strayed too far and plunged headlong into a hollow within a mighty tree trunk. In the heart of a dense, ancient forest stood an old, creaky tree. "Hello," he whispered, his faint glow barely piercing the darkness. The only response was silence, a heavy, dense silence that wrapped around him like a blanket woven from shadows. Then, without warning, a gentle, ethereal sound floated down from the treetops. A huge, shadowy figure suddenly swept past the entrance of the hollow, causing Flicker's tiny light to tremble anxiously. It could only be the infamous Light Eater, the creature that the elder fireflies spoke of in whispers. They mentioned its insatiable hunger for the glow of mischievous fireflies who, from that night forward, Flicker dreaded shining his light. Fearful that the menacing Light Eater might spot his gentle glow and snuff it out, he became hesitant. Whenever the Glow Patrol convened for practice, Flicker would concoct a reason to avoid joining them. "Oh dear," he'd murmur, clutching his little belly, "I believe I have a tummy ache." Or, sometimes Flicker would exclaim, "Oh dear, it seems I've overlooked something crucial. I must retrieve it." His closest companion, Blae, a firefly whose light matched the warmth of her heart, was well aware of Flicker's secret. She knew about the hollow tree, the eerie echoes, and the daunting mysteries hidden within. Shadow. Blae was the kind of friend who truly got it. Blae never breathed a word about Flicker's hidden fear of the dark. She never pushed him, nor did she ever mock him. She simply understood, and that, more than anything else, helped Flicker feel just a bit less isolated with his fears. Fear, it's a powerful thing. As the sky transitioned from a serene blue to a dusty purple one evening, the other fireflies started to come together. "Has anyone seen Blaze?" asked a tiny firefly named Sparky, his wings fluttering with concern. "It's nearly time for practice." Flicker's heart skipped a beat, not just because night was falling, but because Blaze was nowhere to be found. That was unusual. Indeed, Blae was never tardy for Glow Patrol practice. She was typically the first to arrive, her light glowing with enthusiasm. Helping the baby turtles was her passion. Her absence, when she should have been there, buzzing with excitement, stirred a different kind of anxiety within Flicker, one that overshadowed his fear of the looming unknown. Into the shadows, Flicker attempted to project confidence, saying, "You go on ahead." His voice quivered slightly, betraying his jittery nerves. "I'll search for Blae. I'm certain I'll catch up with her before night truly falls." He wished his words felt as assured as he tried to make them sound. With a chorus of "See you later, Flicker," the other fireflies zipped away, disappearing into the encroaching darkness, their glowing tails trailing behind. To dimly twinkle. Flicker inhaled deeply, realizing that locating Blaze outweighed any fear he felt at that moment. His friend needed him. With determination, Flicker took another deep breath and set out on his quest. He peered beneath leaves, checked behind tiny stones, and scoured around the tall grass. As he ventured farther from the other fireflies, the sky grew ever dimmer. The night grew increasingly shadowy. He did his best to keep thoughts of the tree hollow and the Light Eater at bay. Just as he was on the verge of retreating, his tiny antennae sagging under the weight of anxiety, he caught a faint, stifled noise. Help! That voice was unmistakable. It was Blaze. With urgency, Flicker chased the sound. Blae was discovered, trapped within a transparent glass jar. She fluttered desperately, her light flickering in fear, while tiny firefly tears began to trickle down. Flicker strained with all his strength to lift the jar, but it was too weighty. Then, just as the final glow of daylight dimmed, they heard it, the same eerie whooshing sound. Flicker recalled the memory from the tree hollow. Suddenly, a large, shadowy figure loomed overhead. It's the Light Eater. Flicker's tiny body began to shake, and the fear he'd worked so hard to bury surged back, chilling him like an icy gust. He longed to escape, to vanish beneath a leaf, shut his eyes tight, and imagine himself elsewhere. Yet, when his gaze fell upon Blae, ensnared and weeping, her tiny light trembling with fear, he realized she was more frightened than he. Abandoning her wasn't an option. He needed to summon his courage for her sake. Floating nearer to the Blae was behind the glass. "Stay calm, Blae," he murmured, striving to maintain a steady tone. "I'm with you. We'll get through this." Blae glanced up, her large, luminescent eyes filled with concern. But the creature, Flicker, they say it devours our light in the darkness. The shadow overhead grew even more ominous. Heard the sound once more. Flicker's heart pounded like a frantic drum inside his chest. This was it, the terrifying creature from the tales. The fear threatened to snuff out his light, just as the elders had warned. Yet, as he glanced at Blae, he realized he couldn't surrender to the fear. He had to act. He needed courage, not just for Blae, but for his own heart as well. Perhaps, just perhaps, if he faced it with boldness and volume, the Light Eater might be frightened enough to retreat. Could it be that his courage would illuminate the shadows, just as his glow was meant to do? With another deep, trembling breath, Flicker swelled his little chest, ready to face the unknown. The Firefly believed it could, and so, he shouted with every ounce of courage he had, trying to make his voice overpower the eerie shadow and the chilling noise. "We're not scared of you," he proclaimed, his voice carrying an unexpected strength. In the stillness of the night, the unsettling sound faded away. The shadow hesitated, and then, looming above them, there emerged a giant. Her feathery features were complemented by large, round eyes, sparkling glasses, and a vibrant scarf. This owl was truly majestic, with a face that exuded warmth and kindness. "Oh dear," she exclaimed, clearly taken aback. "Why did you shout? Is everything all right?" Flicker blinked in surprise. "Hold on, you're the Light Eater?" The owl appeared puzzled. "The light what?" Flicker rubbed his head in thought. "You know, the terrifying creature that devours firefly light." The owl burst into laughter, almost toppling from her perch. "Oh my goodness, no. I'm Madam Hoot, a music teacher and vocal coach for the songbirds. I visit this spot at night to work on my deeper notes. The echo among these trees is beautiful, isn't it?" The eerie noise Flicker had noticed earlier turned out to be Madam Hoot rehearsing, and the shadow, simply her wings and scarf. Spotting the captured firefly, Madam Hoot used her powerful beak to delicately tilt the jar, just enough for Blae to roll out, unharmed. "Oh!" Blae buzzed excitedly around her friend, exclaiming, "Flicker, you were so brave." Flicker, with a proud smile, replied, I confronted the Light Eater, which turned out to be nothing of the sort." Madam chimed in, "You showed true courage. Even in fear, you stayed by your friend's side." A warm glow of pride enveloped Flicker. The sensation surged within him, expanding and glowing more brilliantly than ever before. He hadn't been consumed. With a companion at his side and a gentle owl watching over them, the darkness seemed far less daunting. That night marked Flicker's initiation into the Glow Patrol. He beamed with pride, lighting the way for the newly hatched baby turtles as they made their determined march toward the rephrased paragraph. The sea shimmered with a magical glow. Turtles, resembling tiny stars, made their way across the sandy shore. Meanwhile, the fireflies' lights flickered like scattered constellations, guiding their path. Flicker realized something profound. Even when the night seemed vast and intimidating, it didn't mean he had to feel insignificant. As the final baby turtle made it to on the radiant shore, Flicker ascended into the night sky alongside Blae, his light shining bold and unwavering. "You know," he remarked to Blae with a smile, "the darkness only makes our light shine even more brilliantly." And indeed, he was right. The end.